Hello everyone, I'm Shujaya Khisha. Today in this video, I will discuss the research participants as part of the research ethics. So this topic focuses on how researchers must protect the participants' rights, dignity, and the well-being. So in my video, I will cover the consent for research participation, protecting participant rights and privacy, research materials and reporting, and lastly, the impact of research. The first key principle is consent for research participation. Participation must always be ethical and voluntary. First, voluntary consent means participants must not be forced or influenced unfairly, and they must be allowed to withdraw at any time without the consequences. Secondly, the informed consent means the participants must clearly understand the purpose, methods, risk, and confidentiality of the research. Finally, unambiguous consent means that consent must be explicit and properly documented, such as through written forms or recordings. Some participants may have limited ability to provide consent, such as individuals with mental health conditions or disabilities. In such cases, research is only allowed if certain conditions are met. First, the research cannot be conducted with fully capable participants. Second, the research must have significant value. Third, the risk involved must be minimal. And in these situations, consent from a guardian is required to ensure the ethical protection. Okay, so when research involves children, both parental consent and the child's agreement are required. Children also have the right to refuse participation, and their best interest must always be prioritized. However, there are exceptions where research may proceed without consent. For example, when using non-sensitive public data, when exposing the injustice or abuse, or when obtaining consent could create safety risk. In such cases, researchers must ensure the proper justification and maintains the transparency. Okay, so protecting participant rights and privacy is essential in ethical research. First, transparency about roles and responsibilities means participants must clearly understand their role, expectations, and any potential conflicts of interest. Second, anonymity ensures that personal identifiers are removed from data to prevent identification. Third, confidentiality means a sensitive information must be protected, although it may be disclosed when legally required or necessary for safety. Participation should always be informed in advance. Researchers also have a duty of notification. This means they must inform authorities uh, if participants pose a danger to themselves or others, especially in cases of abuse or criminal activity. So, in addition, researchers must respect the participants' privacy and family life, including the cultural differences, personal boundaries, and sensitive topics such as health, religion, and sexual orientation. And ethical research requires respect and responsibility. Ethical research also involves proper handling of research materials. Um, Data must be securely stored, carefully archived, and shared according to ethical and legal standards. Participants should be informed about how their data will be handled. This ensures transparency and builds trust between the researchers and the participants. Reporting results is another important ethical responsibility. Findings should be communicated clearly to participants or made publicly available. Researchers must correct any errors and present results in a clear and accessible way. Misleading or hiding information is considered unethical. Research can have both direct and indirect impacts. It affects not only participants but also others, such as family, members, or colleagues. Researchers must consider these effects and minimize the unintended consequences They must also respect the participants' values, beliefs, and personal identity, avoiding the bias or misinterpretations. Another important aspect is the risk of harm and disadvantage. Research should minimize physical research should minimize physical, psychological, and emotional harm. Participants must be informed about potential risks, and the benefits of the research should outweigh those risks. If harm occurs, appropriate support should be provided. Special ethical considerations extend beyond living participants. In post-to-mouse research, human remains and sensitive materials must be treated with dignity and respect. Researchers should also consult families or communities to ensure the cultural appropriateness. In addition, research must consider its impact on future generations, including the long-term effects on society, health, and the environment. Ethical responsibility toward future generations includes several key principles. Researchers must consider long-term consequences and act carefully when risks are uncertain. Following the precautionary principle, they should promote sustainability and ensure the fair distribution of benefits and burdens across the generations. In conclusion, ethical research is essential for protecting participants, ensuring the fairness, and maintaining the trust in research practices. By following these principles, researchers can contribute the responsibly to knowledge and the society. And lastly, I would like to say that thank you for watching my video.